Hello there, dear viewers, and welcome to haQ. My name is Jakob. I'm your host, and you're watching a haQ episode. And in this one, we're having a look at AUM 1.4 again, but this time it's all about MIDI because Jonathan has done a lot of updates, he's done a lot of stuff to the MIDI section. Okay, so I'm going to tap on the channel name here, and I'm going to tap on this icon, and then we're going to go to MV08. Now, this is a drum machine that I'm using, and right now I've mapped some stuff to it. And if we go and check what I've mapped, then in the bass drum, we can see that I've mapped the BD reverb control and the BD tone and BD decay. Well, the point is that there are mappings here, and I want you to look up here. You see where the three dots are? Well, if we tap them, we can now save, load, copy, paste, and clear all of our MIDI mappings right from this menu. And not only can you do it for AUv3s, you can also go to the main menu. If you tap the hamburger button, go to MIDI controls. Well, you can see these three dots everywhere. This will allow you to save, load, copy, clear, and paste all of your MIDI mappings. And it's awesome. Now, the next thing I want to show you are some commands. There is something new called BPM Presets. So check what happens here. As you saw and heard, I switched between BPM settings. And so how do you set that up? Well, you go to the hamburger button, go to MIDI control, and then to transport. And once you're here, you just go all the way down to tempo presets. We tap in here, and here we can create our tempo presets. So if I wanted to add a tempo preset, I just press add tempo, double tap there to get this little box. Let's say we wanted to do 70 BPMs, we could set that and press done. And now you can map a MIDI CC controller to this tempo command. And if you just keep adding different types of tempo commands, well, you now have a very quick way of actually switching the BPM to very precise BPM settings with your MIDI CC controls. This is so neat. We used to have to bookmark our channels to be able to jump between them, right? And it would have been nice to be able to do it through a MIDI controller. Well, if you check this out, you now can, because there is now a jump to channel MIDI command inside AUM. And you can reach it if you go to the channel name, of course, into MIDI settings, into channel controls, and then tap on scroll to channel. And then you can map any MIDI CC controller to this. And when you do it with many, well, you can just instantly jump to a channel by tapping a button that you map to it. The MIDI clock send is now a destination in the MIDI routing matrix. And if we go to the MIDI routing matrix, we can't actually see it right now. It's because we haven't activated it. So to see the MIDI clock first, we have to tap the BPM up here and then to the three dots that opens up this menu. And then we go to MIDI clock send. Now here it has its own menu. And in here we can turn the MIDI clock on, and we also have settings for latency compensation. And we can also offset the clock in here with this setting. Now there is one more thing in here, song position pointer, but I'll talk about that in a minute. Now that the send clock is on, we can go back to the matrix and we can now find this symbol here. This allows us to send the MIDI clock to wherever we might want to send it. So if I wanted to send it out to the first port of the Steinberg sound interface I'm using, you just do that and there you go. Now I'm going to show you the MIDI clock pointer, but before I do that, have a look at this right here. Well, if you tap that, it allows you to hide all the names. Makes it all very neat and clean. And if you want the names back, you just tap it again and they'll pop up. So, MIDI clock pointer. If we go back to the menu here and we go to MIDI clock send, we can see the song position pointer right here. What will this allow us to do? Well, it will send the song position to whatever device is listening to the AUM MIDI clock output. In this case here, I'm using a Roland MC101. When you're sending the song position pointer to a device that can listen to those signals, well, if you scroll through the timeline, which actually does exist inside AUM, the song position pointer will actually tell the machine listening to the sync signal exactly what you're doing. So it will know where in the song you are or where in the timeline you are. AUv3 now allows for multiple MIDI inputs. It didn't used to do that. So if we tap out of the matrix, we tap the plus here, we open up a MIDI channel only, and we go in here and we load MIDI tape recorder, this one. It's a MIDI recorder basically, and it has 4 tracks and also 4 inputs. Well, if we go to the matrix now, we can see that all of those 4 inputs are being shown right here. Not only the outputs, but the inputs too. Very nice. Now there is one more thing in the matrix here that I want to show you, and it is this icon here. There is now a network MIDI menu inside the matrix. So here you can actually monitor and see all of the MIDI network sessions you've got going on. Alright, so there's one more cool thing, and that is if we tap one of these, let's say we go to this name here and we tap it, well, you have something called name up here. We can actually rename this now. So if I wanted to rename this Poo Poo, I can do that. And now we have Poo Poo in the matrix. This go to the Poo Poo, and this go to Poo Poo, and this go to Poo. Now, there is a lot more that Jonathan has actually done, and stuff like this deserves to be supported. Well, if we go to the hamburger button here, then there is a tip jar, and if we press that, we have the ability to now send a tip to him. So now there is an in-app purchase inside AUM, and it doesn't give you anything, it just supports the developer. And for those of you who wanted MIDI clock in, no, there is no MIDI clock in yet. But I did talk to Jonathan about that, and it is coming. Just wait for the next big one. I think that might actually be the one that does it for us. If you still love me, if that hasn't changed since the last video, I mean, something could have happened in between. You might have just ended up in some weird space on the internet and maybe seen some really awkward pictures of me and you just stopped loving me. Well, if that didn't happen, give me a like. And if you don't want to give me a like, I don't give a f. So if you want to support me in a financial way, go check out my music first. If you don't want to do that, then PayPal or Patreon. As usual, I wish you a very productive week. Now go finger all of your stuff and have a lot of fun doing it.